James Gunn's The Suicide Squad is one of my favorite movies of all time. It has fun characters, a meaty story, and good action. Plus, the movie's colors also just look good. What more can you ask for? So when I heard for the first time all those years ago that there was going to be a spin-off, I was excited. Good. More of that thing that I really liked. But that enthusiasm soon fizzled out when I found out the spin-off was going to be about Peacemaker. Oh, that guy.
Peacemaker. What a joke.
Not only did I dislike Peacemaker for what he did in the Suicide Squad film, but also I just didn't think Peacemaker would be an interesting enough character to carry his own show. At that time, I thought, do we really need another show about a tough guy who beats people up? Is that something we need another one of? So the show came out and I never gave it any attention. One time though, just side story, I saw a fan cam of Vigilante and I thought, oh, what a fine man. Uh-oh, maybe I should watch that show. But I never did. Until recently, that is. Superman came out and I was all in the DC Studios hype train. I wanted more of whatever James Gunn was selling, and around that time season 2 was about to come out, so it was the perfect time to finally get into Peacemaker. And yes, the people of the internet were correct. I should have watched this show a long time ago, because bitch, it's great. Yes, it is still, in a way, a show about a tough guy beating people up, but it's also so much more than that. It evolves itself into something more. It becomes a character study and a deconstruction of that tough guy. Peacemaker is a great show, and it has a lot of great parts. Great humor, great action, great themes, but perhaps what surprised me the most about it is its overall heart. And no one embodies that heart more than, of course, the show's main character, Peacemaker himself, Christopher Smith. So that's what we're going to talk about today, how this show accomplished the titanic task of making you care about, root for, and at the very least, understand a character that started out as an absolute ass. We're gonna talk about how Peacemaker, the show, makes you root for a bad guy. It's very clear with how Chris is portrayed in the Suicide Squad that he's not really a good guy. Despite the name Peacemaker making him feel like a discount, off-center imitation Captain America, that movie does a good job at giving the audience an impression that no, he's not a hero. He's just an unhinged, violent man who uses crime fighting and heroism as an excuse to kill people.
I cherish peace with all my heart. I don't care how many men, women, and children I need to kill to get it.
In that movie, Chris gets used by Amanda Waller, kills a good man, and suffers a near-death experience, which is a lot, but it's also enough to make him start questioning himself and his way of life. At the start of Peacemaker, Chris tries to return to what was his normal life before he became a part of Task Force X, living in his trailer with his pet eagle, hanging out with his best friend Vigilante, and tending to his relationship with his abusive and toxic father. But even with his attempts at trying to go back to his version of normal, Chris isn't the same anymore.
Peacemaker, take him out.
Even the kids?
Yes, all 4 beds now. Peacemaker, goddammit, take the shot.
I don't know if I can hit them.
They're clear. Take the shot.
Woman gave us a killer who can't kill.
The Chris who once said he'd kill any number of men, women, and children for the sake of peace was starting to realize the errors in his ideology. The fact that Vigilante took over killing the Butterfly family is a nice, revealing little detail. This is Chris's partner. They hung out a lot, and they're very similar and probably share the same views about killing. The Chris from years ago probably would have taken the shot the same way Vigilante does, but the Chris we have now can't. Peacemaker once blindly followed Amanda Waller's orders. He betrayed the friends he made and killed a good man he respected because of those orders. He very clearly regrets that, and that regret has allowed him to come to a point in his life where he doesn't want to blindly kill anymore. And this development, this growth out of this kill first, ask questions later mindset, this questioning of his own personal violent tendencies leads Chris into examining why he is this way in the first place. And that brings him to his own father, Augie Smith, supervillain, white supremacist, and terrible parent. This sack of shit. Within the context of the story, he is the reason why Chris turned out to be such a terrible person. But also, on a meta level, for us, the audience, he's also the biggest reason Chris becomes a sympathetic character. With Augie in the story, Chris is not just a violent man using heroism as an excuse to kill people. With Augie in the story, we get the context that Christopher Smith is just a loveless kid in a grown-up man's body, still trying after all these years to gain any form of affection from his father and from other people. Chris, with all the shitty things he's done, just did them all to find love. Augie failed Chris as a parent, teaching him only violence. So Chris grows up not knowing how to form genuine relationships, not knowing how to be a decent person, only knowing punching, shooting, and killing. And they're living in a world with heroes like Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman. In Chris's mind, hey, look at all these beloved heroes, people love them. They punch and fight. I know how to do that. If I punch and fight and kill like them, people will love me too. He's just a guy doing the only thing he knows how to do, hoping that's gonna bring him love. And that doesn't excuse the bad things Peacemaker's done, alright? It doesn't make him blameless in his actions, but it does make the whole thing heartbreaking. Fighting is the only thing he's ever been taught, so he's going to fight his way into finding love. Obviously, that did not work. Just quickly, if you're still enjoying this video, please feel free to leave a like or a comment, maybe even subscribe. I'm a small, petite, tiny channel, and that would help me out a lot. Thank you. On a meta-technical writing narrative building sense, making Peacemaker a son of an abusive racist was such a great choice. He's a kid who just wants to be loved by his father, so much so that it led him to killing his brother when he was younger. And you know, that thing of wanting a parent's approval, it's so common and relatable to a lot of people. Even if you yourself didn't grow up desperate for a parent's love, which, lucky you, bitch, chances are you know someone who did. And so even then, it still feels like a tangible, deeply grounded aspect of Peacemaker's character. And in a general sense, just wanting to be approved of, just wanting to be validated and liked, that is a universal thing. That choice to make Christopher Smith just a character so desperate and wanting of love and approval, it makes Peacemaker a relatable guy whose circumstances you can understand and feel for. Making Augie a raging white supremacist is great because it allows the show to touch into themes that are sadly relevant nowadays. Also, it allows for a nice contrast and ethical conundrum, because then the show makes you think, like, really? People like Augie Smith, that's whose peace and freedom we're protecting? The butterflies were offering us a way out of societal collapse and environmental doom, but we killed them all to protect the freedoms of people like this? Of racists? It's an interesting question to think about, and how you navigate answering it will tell you a lot about yourself. And it's a huge part of why I love this show, because that fucked me up. The butterflies were like, we're gonna take control over you now, because the people in control of the earth right now are, you know, what does that tell you about the state of the world right now that I'm literally like, yes, please, let's submit to the alien invaders. It feels like they're offering better than what we have right now. Back to Peacemaker, the character. So you have this person now who is realizing that he has to grow and he has to change. And with some lovely luck and some good writing, he was given the right set of people at just the right time to help him with his growth. Adebayo is one of the best things that happened to Christopher Smith. I know Harcourt is his love interest and Vigilante is his OG bestie, but those two have a lot of their own shit that they have to unpack. Not that Adebayo herself doesn't, but she is a lot more emotionally mature than any one of the 11th Street kids. And it really is her friendship with Chris that in season 1 allows Chris to move past his deeply rooted trauma and deeply rooted shame of killing his brother, and helps Chris see what a piece of shit his father is. It's no surprise that in the season 2 finale, it's also Adebayo's words, along with the presence of the 11th Street kids, that helped Chris get over thinking he's cursed.
But when you are truly who you are, Chris Smith, what happens? Chris, what happens, man? You touch people, man.
Side note, this line cracks me up.
I saw an eagle hug a human.
I saw an eagle hug a human. I fucking love that line so much. The fact that she's delivering it so sincerely, tears streaming down her face, completely earnest. It's such an absurd fucking line. God, I love it.
I saw an eagle hug a human.
I was, admittedly, kind of disheartened with how Peacemaker treated Vigilante in season 2. Chris didn't really hang out with Adrian that much. I guess if you think about it, it does make sense. Adrian probably reminds Chris of the person that he used to be, or at least the person he's trying so hard to grow out of. That said, this was very sad. Besides Chris's relationship with his father and his desire to grow, another thing that makes him likable and someone you want to root for is that deep down, he's also just someone who isn't malevolently motivated. And by that I mean that yes, he is an asshole, an annoying one sometimes, but if we look at the things he's done, he's not motivated by greed for money or for power. He's not motivated by a white supremacist ideology like his father, and he's not motivated by revenge like Rick Flag. His motivations have never been evil. And this goes back to Adebayo's speech to him.
Every time someone around you dies, it's because you're not listening to yourself. Your father told you to fight your brother. You did. Waller told you to kill Rick, and you did, and you knew you shouldn't have gone to that other world.
He didn't do any of these things to satisfy some corrupt, evil goal. He was just misguidedly looking for love and for approval. Again, that doesn't excuse him, but it helps us understand him. And understanding a character is always the first step to liking them. Another thing that also makes Chris sympathetic is that bad stuff keeps happening to him. He loved his brother, boom, ended up killing him. He wanted to be a hero, boom, ended up being blackmailed and treated like a weapon by the government. He wanted to be loved by his father, boom, also had to kill him. He wanted to be with Harcourt, surprise, he killed her friend/fuck buddy. He finally arrives at a healthy place with his friends and in his life, boom, trapped in an alternate reality prison. This is a man who has been trying so hard to be good and just keeps getting fucked over by his life and by the writers. And that makes us want him to succeed. It makes us endeared to him. So, you have this guy, Christopher Smith, who is sympathetic because of his terrible, racist dad who treats him like shit, and sympathetic because of his deep, simple desire to just be loved and accepted. He made a really big mistake, and that made him start wanting to change his life, and he's finally trying to, but bad things keep happening to him. And that makes him a tragic figure that we just want to root for. Kudos to the show. I had no idea how much I would like Chris, but here we are. It is amazing what competent writing can do, not to mention John Cena's excellent performance as the character. I'm not surprised there. I'm not surprised John Cena's a great actor. I know some people had doubts about Cena's acting because he used to be in wrestling, that kind of thing, but not for me. Years ago, I saw him in a small, wonderful movie called Blockers, and that pretty much sold me on his charm and his comedic brilliance. Love the guy. I was never that into James Gunn's MCU output. The Guardians never really resonated with me. I thought they were good, but nothing that I really fell in love with. But whatever it is that James Gunn is doing with his work at DC, it is like crack to me. Peacemaker is great. Love it. And yes, I was a little underwhelmed by the season 2 finale when it first came out, but after a few days, I got over it. I like the character journey Chris had, and it's still a great show. I was looking for some more action, not gonna lie, because part of why I watched the show was the action, but in the grand scheme of things, it's not that big of a deal. I love the show. Hope we get a season 3. What about you? What did you think of Peacemaker and Chris's overall arc? Did you love it? Did you hate it? Please tell me in the comments down below. I would like to know. That is it for me. I'm out.